Spirit had talked about 2020 as a revisioning process for humanity, and 2021 really being about who was stepping up into their integrity as a spiritual adult. And 2022 really being about personal mastery and people coming together who were experiencing personal mastery or who were really focused on their mastery. And what does that mean? Well, when I was teaching special ed, we were taught to frame things in the way of I do it, we do it, you do it. So we would model the example of what we were trying to do. We would then do it together, and then we would offer the students the opportunity for them to do what we were instructing. And Spirit is saying we're now out of the we do it phase. 2020 to 2022 was this kind of collective revisioning, and we're now in the you do it. What is your personal relationship with God, with Creator? Because moving forward, Spirit is saying it's going to feel like we are fumbling through the dark if we do not have this relationship as our primary relationship. And some of the supporting energies that came through tonight for this light transmission of Am I Ready is that collectively we are shifting our perspective of security. The ego views security as it needs to know its next meal, it needs to know, that it has leisure activities and things to look forward to. It needs to know that the money is coming in, it has to have its relationships kind of all ducks in a row, the image, etc. But these perspectives of security are shifting, and some of this is going to be, perhaps non-consensual to the ego. It will be happening in the ways that Spirit spoke of earlier, with a business collapsing or a relationship dissolving or something just not going in the way that we anticipated. And yet, Spirit says this path, this process of breaking the small I am into the am I, leading to the fullness of the full I am, is actually going to awaken us to our spiritual gifts throughout the process. It's going to bring into our lives angelic help and miraculous aid, as well as proof of divine intervention. As well, we will discover the power of prayer and our own intimate connection with Source. And the very next lyrics that came through here were caught in the riptide. I was searching for the truth. There's a reason I collided into you, calling your name in the midnight hour, reaching you from the endless dream. So many miles between us now, but you are always here with me. And Spirit using these lyrics to say, I'm always here with you, even when you're caught in the riptide, even when you're searching for truth, when you're calling my name in the midnight hour, I am hearing you. And when I bring up the power of prayer, I often am met with a couple of responses, either, I don't know how to pray, or I've never prayed, or, I've prayed and God doesn't give me what I want, so I don't really believe in prayer anymore. And the way that Spirit taught me as a child to pray was not to necessarily recite what I was learning in church, although that did allow me to connect to a frequency, but it wasn't allowing me to connect to my own personal relationship with God. And so I had to ask Spirit, show me how you want me to pray. And one of the things that I learned as a child was that God delighted in me asking for the will of Spirit to be done through me, the will of love, the will of wisdom, the will of highest intent. And so there was nothing ever to fear here, because it was always love leading the way. And my ego could then trust that if I was praying for the divine will, or if I was praying for highest and best, then whatever was happening in grace and was happening with purpose. And we're going to really need to understand the importance of prayer and how to pray, because as we are fumbling through the dark, there are not going to be answers from the outside world. It is not going to come from a book or from a television show. There might be, of course, signs and clues and messages from Spirit in all of those things, but the true answers of where we need to be cannot be answered by anything outside of our own soul connecting to the heart of God, which lives within us. And Spirit is, bringing us to this whole collective metaphorical experience of death, and reminding me as I was, in meditation for this, that all come to this at the moment of physical death. all humans, no matter how, atheist they may think that they are, in the moment of that last breath, know the divine, know themselves to be part of something bigger. And Spirit says all realize the futility of the ego in that moment. And Spirit referred to this as the moment of realization of insignificance. And of course, this can happen through many things throughout our physical life. When someone passes away, when we're, what am I saying here? We're witnessing a birth for the first time, these moments that show us that, our tiny little thoughts and the things that we're, so upset about or complaining about throughout the day, they mean nothing. And so these realizations of insignificance are some of the things that Spirit is talking about, which is kind of coming our way over the next 3 months, and how our ability to ask for that divine will to be shown to us and moved through us, but also that prayer can be as simple as taking a moment of silence and just saying thank you for the blessings in our life that we already have, and even saying thank you for the blessings that have not yet arrived, that we have trust are going to arrive in perfect divine timing. And Spirit is saying that we're all at this precipice now, this precipice of the collective ego death, where all eyes will be made to see. And Spirit says some will still choose to remain behind the veil or act in denial, but it will become much harder to cling to in the coming years. We must let go of what we believe security to look like. And this goes back to, security being like, I get up, I go to work every day, I have this amount of kids, this is my title, these are my people. Security is going to now look like, how secure am I in my relationship to my own heart and to my connection with the Creator? Because that is the relationship and the only relationship that is going to be able to lead us moving forward. We're also encouraged to remember that this is a time to conserve our energy, that energy really is currency right now. And if we're feeling ourselves drained over and over by certain situations, certain relationships, that is probably a red flag to just look into more deeply what is happening right there, because energy is our currency right now, and we're going to need that life force for the next few months, because from Spirit's perspective, there is a challenge coming to the physical realm, and it's nothing to be afraid of, but it is something to the effect of like a needle eye for all of us to move through both individually and collectively. And Spirit's calling this the squeeze. And we're encouraged to resist the urge to hoard or to become miserly or to fall into poverty consciousness where we start to believe there's not enough. That all of that is a manipulation. There is plenty of enough money, love, youth, food, gas, shelter, energy, and resources to go around. Spirit says, do not fall for this mirage. This is the illusion's power, and it is strong, but it is fading daily. The veils are lifting as true discernment takes root in the heart of the people. However, the people must long for unity and not division. And Spirit says that right now there are many people that still have that egoic addictive desire, that lure to be in the fight, to be in the separatism. And so we have to have that yearning for unity in order to truly live our lives in accordance with Spirit. And once again, prayer being this necessity moving forward, to ask to know where we must be, right place, right time, and to be receptive to the synchronicities, the signs, and the messages from the universe that are confirming the information from our inner realms of soul within our co-creation with Spirit. So when we start to do journaling with Spirit, when we begin to pray, when we have a meditative practice or devotion in our life, whatever that is for us, it doesn't have to be, just sitting quietly and chanting Om. There are so many different ways to connect with our soul and to connect with Spirit. But we will start to notice these synchronicities popping up, these signs, these messages, and they will come from the most amusing of places from time to time. And so we're encouraged to trust in the tides, because the flow always returns. And that this is really a moment to really harness that phrase of chop wood, carry water, to pay attention to the details, to clean up, the small messes in our physical lives, because as we transform and declutter these things on the physical level, we will also start to find that debris moving out of our emotional and spiritual fields. If we practice faith, Spirit says, the treasure will be revealed. All that is concealed will be revealed, and that which has been hidden in plain sight. And then hear the lyrics: you're the treasure, dive down deeper still. All I need is you. And the feeling from Spirit here that we are the treasure, our hearts are the treasure. And as we dive down deeper into those realms of soul, we will begin to feel the love that is God in a way that we have never experienced before, in a way that we cannot even explain to someone else until they have that moment of experience themselves. But that feeling of once you know God in your body, you are never going back.